Hey there, Agile Adventurer. Just a quick question. What if, for the price of a fancy coffee or half a pizza, you could unlock over 700 hours of the best Agile content on the planet? That's audio, video, e-courses, books, presentations, all that you can think of. But you can also join live calls with world-class practitioners and hang out in a flame war-free and AI slop-clean Slack with the sharpest minds in the game. Oh, and yes, you get direct access to me, Vasco, your Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. No, this is not a drill. It's the Scrum Master Toolbox membership. And it's your unfair advantage in the Agile world. So if you want to know more, go check out scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. That's scrummastertoolbox.org/membership. And check out all the goodies we have for you. Do it now. But if you're not doing it now, let's listen to the podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday, the success question of the week. Of course, this week with Anamaria Ungureanu. Hey, Anamaria, welcome back.
Hello.
So, Anamaria, Thursday is a very important day for us because it's when we talk about what success means, how we keep ourselves accountable, what we learn about the Scrum Master role, and how to help also others like our teams be successful. We'll talk about that in a second. But before that, do share with us, what's your favorite Agile retrospective format and why?
So honestly, the answer is not so short in the sense that in my philosophy, I think we should not have just one approach. The very efficient and simplicity is okay, start, stop, continue. But I think for a retrospective, we should have a quantitative and qualitative discussion. So when you speak about retrospective, very often, the teams jumps in what went well, what we can improve under different flavors like start, stop, continue. As my way of doing, I'm trying to help them first to think on some quantitative data. Okay, for example, what were the goals of the team? Okay, and supporting them with some metrics if it's needed by context, based on the objectives, based on the velocity. So quantitative data, I think it's important to lead that retrospective discussion. And also, from my experience, I think from time to time it's healthy to change the approach, the format. For the team, for example, if we are a small team and things like this, it's also good to have a round table. But to ask this question a bit differently. Sometimes I ask what you liked, disliked, what we could improve. Sometimes start, stop, continue. Okay. So as my philosophy, I think as a Scrum Master role, it's good to be dynamic, to make a conversation over a tool, people over processes as a retrospective. I think it's very important. Yeah. So yes, it's favor one. Yes, start, stop, continue, as it's clear and simple. But as I said, this is just the framework to support the discussion. We need to come with some data, and we need to look to have some action at the end on our based on our discussion. Yeah. I think, and for my experience, I think we need to pay attention, as also as an agile coach. We don't want at the end to leave the action. Very often I saw this kind of, we need to improve some processes and things, some actions for the Scrum Master. Yeah. Discussion is, of course, we can take it, but discussion is for the team, what team can do to improve. For example, one retro, maybe I'm focusing on testing. What we can start, stop, continue regarding testing. Should I automate more because we see it's impacting? We need to start doing some, transfer knowledge for TDD, test-driven development. So I like to focus on specific topics. Other, I change on collaboration, how we need to improve our collaboration. But I think, from my experience, it's efficient if sometimes we focus on specific topic based on what we saw, what we observed from the execution how the team managed to collaborate, what they raised throughout the daily stand-ups and all the discussion I have one-to-one. And like this, I found it's efficient. It's like, asking your kid from school every day, how was it school? How was it school? Fine, say just fine. But if I ask tomorrow, but what was your interaction with the math class? I can get different same with the team. I think if we start to ask differently, we'll definitely help them to have.
I really like the emphasis on the conversation and then using different types of questions to trigger those conversations, always with the idea that we need to have data. It could be qualitative or quantitative data, of course, to then from that generate insights and derive actions. I really like that very practical approach. Now, we do these retros because, of course, we want to help our teams and ultimately their stakeholders succeed. And we can do that by holding ourselves accountable, by defining what success means for us, and then really following that up in our day-to-day work. So, Anamaria, the question for you now is, how do you see success for a Scrum Master? How do you define it?
I define that the Scrum Master success is based on the results of the team. And results is like how they are evolving and growing. I'm not looking specific on some iteration. If it was good, okay. I'm looking on a path, and I'm looking on a trend, on an evolution, okay? So how the team managed to perform, for example, with my case, if you arrive in a stormy team or less engaged team, and then you see that the team managed to deliver more based on what they commit to be more engaged, that is the success. From my perspective, it's easier to see just by attending some sessions, yeah. Based on how the teams are, engaged and how they knock to the Scrum Master. You don't need to go there. When they will come proactively, just for some discussion, just summarizing some feedback during the sprint, not waiting until the end, for me are key indicators that they value and they appreciate your, buy-in in their evolution as a team. Our role is to maximize team efficiency. And when I see that the team grows, the team increase the trust with the key stakeholders, yeah, for me, it's a key indicator. They have an open environment. They foster, commitment and all this alignment of value by applying them, not just saying. I'm a happy, Scrum Master role when you see this, when you receive feedback from others. This is kind of like, okay, based on our discussions, for example, I volunteer to work as a Scrum Master for some other team, and it was by volunteer. It was some time, and the way they contact me when I provided them the definition of done concepts, the team charter, the working agreement, some basic things, but they resonated. That is, look, Anamaria, I like it. We apply things like this. Was a very feeling for me.
For me, one of the key questions for us as Scrum Masters is, okay, so now this is how I see success, right? Like, and, write it down or reflect on it with a colleague to make sure that it's crystal clear. Then the next question is, okay, but how do I hold myself accountable, right? Like, what's my practice? Do I ask for feedback? Do I have one-on-ones? Like, how do you keep yourself accountable to that definition of success that you just described for us, Anamaria?
So from my perspective, from my context, I always ask for feedback for continuous improvement. I think it's very important also for us, not just for the team, how we can improve with our, role and also in the collaboration with with them, with stakeholders, not just the team members. So asking for feedback, being proactive in the sense that, okay, just observing and things to proactively come with some ideas to improve. With the example I said, I came with the need of the team to have the definition of done, to apply, to refresh. Another, context, for example, I come with how to write the user stories. Yeah. So by observing and immediately, not necessarily wait for people to ask, but come with, proposals, ideas, how they can improve. But our role, I think, is very important to always improve. And to improve, we improve from my learning after I deliver a session and I see very often I could have done better based on this. I look on some audio and I see, okay, I could have been more focused, more structured. Timekeeper is very important. And for our role, to see how we keep up with very technical discussions, things like this. I take the notes. I need to pay more attention on the time. I need to pay more attention to engage everyone from some workshop. I learned this from my past experience. So I think ourselves, we can assess how we can improve, but also asking for feedback and being open to adapt based on the feedback we receive. Because we need to not just to say, we need also to apply our values and principles.
Yeah, and I think that's the very important point here, right? Like the reason why we every week talk about how do we define success, it's exactly because we are not there only to help others. That is, of course, a big part of what we need to do, but we can only do that if we have a clear definition of what success is for us, also for them. But we need to get the feedback so that we can adapt to the reality, because every team is different. And I very often say that every day there's a new team that we need to work with, because if a team member is absent, that's a different team, right? If a team member has a difficult situation going on and they're not so calm or patient, that's also a different team, right? Like as Scrum Masters, we really need to be aware of that feedback, do that self-assessment, as you said, collect the feedback, and then show the example of continuous improvement by improving ourselves also every day. Thank you for sharing that story, Anamaria.
In the end, I wanted to say that also discussing with the other community, it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Discussing with the community.
All right, I hope you liked this episode. But before you hit next episode, here's the deal. This podcast is powered by people like you, the members who wanted more than just inspiration. They wanted real tools and real connection to people who are practicing Agile every day. We're talking access to over 700 hours of Agile Gold, CTO level strategy talks, summit keynotes, live workshops, e-courses, deep dive interviews, books, and if you're into no estimates, we got the pioneers of no estimates in those deep dive interviews as well. Agile business intelligence, creating product visions, coaching your product owner courses, you name it. You'll get invites to monthly live Q&As with Agile pioneers and practitioners, plus a private Slack community, which is free of all of that AI slop you see everywhere, and of course, without the flame wars. It's a community of practitioners that want to learn and thrive together. It's the best place to connect with community and learn together. So if this podcast has helped you before, imagine what you will get from this podcast membership. So head on over to scrummastertoolbox.org/membership and join the community that's shaping the future of Agile. And we have so much for you. So check out all the details at scrummastertoolbox.org/membership, because listening is great, it's important, but doing it together, that's next level. I'll see you in the community Slack. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.